Hello everybody, welcome back to Phoenix Friday's Attorney, and what should be the final episode, I think, if my memory is correct. Sorry, Edgeworth. This isn't, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Not again. Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around on duty. Top it off you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Thinking Lana's having you run errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. I was talking about that just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. Yeah, it's gonna be long. What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined by this forward evidence you're unaware of. Miss Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose it, no matter what it takes. The case has hurt too many people. Time to bring it to an end. Let us read that evidence. Why can't I check the court record? Court will now reconvene after you check the court record. Why would it not let me there? Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there was some concern that Mr. Edgar may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution. That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's never been a case example. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. Defense accepts the prosecuting proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. The defense calls Damon Gant, the chief of police, to the stand. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? At the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he'd just still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Organs! Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gants. I'm the acting chief of police. Did I say something strange in my headphones? What the fuck was that noise? Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. What was that noise? So weird. Oh, righto, what's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There's still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you play in all this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, Lawrence may begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outs didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. As Alan Dark was arrested, he was lying on the floor unconscious. I think I know I got a purse. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. The police chief has the right to refuse to testify. Better hit him hard and fast. Let's get to, I think that last one was the last one. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you were out of your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are excusable no matter what the circumstances. That's how it really went down. Staring at all this won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I gotta link Gant to the incident. I think it's the evidence list, because one half is found in his desk. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. There's a list Emma Sky drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this chart that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in that forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? What do I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck in my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Gumshoe's salary drops any further, you end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, Please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office in relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Well, we put two and two together. We just don't give a shit about you. Let's see, what was it now? A jaw fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planned them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. They're found after Doc was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I participate in the forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the Chief of Police, correct? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief. Would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Ah, right, gee. In return, though. I know, that place, right? Huh? I mean, man, just tell him a padlock? What the f*** are you talking about? I don't know what to do, so I'm going to press everything. I'd appreciate if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cow ranch and tipped. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they'll prove your investigation was illegal. I never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are you saying this jaw fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after the dog was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right? The Chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. I certainly don't know. Come now, Mr. Wright. Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Scott. Well, now do you see? Wouldn't help me on it. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there's one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would be, of course, the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh! Resolution of the SL9 instance secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitability a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There! It's out in the open now. Oh, gee, will you mind if I change my testimony a little? I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. Not a girl. Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Me accidentally calling you Damon Gants seems to actually be very fitting. Could there have been something different? In his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out for anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to own people around. That's not what I mean. Very well, I'll ask. Who is the person you believe she can be have helped forge evidence?
Take that!
Lana Skye. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? As for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. God damn it. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I control Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. No way she testified against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless, that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strangely throughout this entire trial, almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. She calls the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder. That's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said. Easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? The Chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Show us this evidence. It better be good. Brought back to his office by Gant's request. Well, Chief, so I'm gonna go tell nothing regards to the relevance. If I tell something too edgy, this shoe should do nicely. I'll chuck it right at you. You always work like the Joker, weren't you? Ah, shit! I know it's hard with all that's gone on during this trial. But try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago. Wait, mentioned we did find something on yesterday's investigation. Oh, yes. He wants another one of your shoes, Uchi! Got it. Thank you. Thank you, game. The ID card record. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine, the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you could prove that to my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open it. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. Code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Holy man! Finally! Finally! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search in my office is a violation of regulations. And I would demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Miranda, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lon Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on that day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim met with the where is it? Goodman's lost item report to be submitted to the chief. That Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. To be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed a lost item report. We have to give that report to the chief of police. Take that, you bitch. It's your possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to. Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could just lend him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. Probably lent it to Detective Goodman. It would have been found on his body. No! Man, a little lightning. I guess that makes sense with a little lightning here. Chief Gant, you didn't... The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. They won't accept me, it seems. Still, you're chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Well, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you! Take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, You have all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. All this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief can't use this.
Take that!
There it is. This is how I knew the victim's body. What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edward, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edward's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edward's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. What else would you have Mr. Edward carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to defend his outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr's office took at prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There's certain risk to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had long to dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gants is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective... I got no proof yet. No show you showing evidence, I'm not sure myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. See, Archie? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Archie, I'll leave the rest to you. Fuck you! God, you're under my little head. Murderers in this series. Just God.
Objection!
Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's only one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Lady who knows the truth, another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. Chief Gant invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edward, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor, the defense calls forth.
Take that!
The defendant, Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth, prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene the defense testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I got a lunch date to meet. Yeah, that's, okay. If there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Well, damn. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Never got you. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh. Yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry, I already decided where to work now. At your office. My office. Sure, I'll take the place that top-knotted girl used to work with. Could he mean... Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. I don't think all gets the upper hand. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There's certain risk to be considered. Risk. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. And he forfeits his right to say anything too. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to Trough in the gallery. I shared everything that's been going on. I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. I think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean, to follow Chief Gant's orders? She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. Oh, better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Oh, wait, there is a to be continued. This was not the final episode then. I will end it here. That's actually a better place to end this. That was part 25 and 26 instead. Oops. But thank you for watching. I guess next episode will be the end. I didn't realize that there was an to be continued. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.